You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the. I forgot the name of the podcast there.
You gotta remember the name of the podcast.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the 88th episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. From Asheville, North Carolina, I'm Thaddeus Bellwether.
Hey, I'm Matt in Minneapolis.
And this is Spencer Howe in Boston, Massachusetts. Thaddeus, long time no see, buddy. How you doing? What's going on over there in Asheville?
You know what? Things are getting really excited here in Asheville. I'm just excited to welcome the entire cyclocross nation to my backyard for the race on the Biltmore Estate.
Yeah, literally your backyard, right?
Literally, I own the Biltmore because I am a very rich guy.
Yeah, we know that, yeah.
Very excited for what's going on. And again, you know, I listened to the Derek Bouchard Hall interview. I saw that did a lot for his credibility, and I am on here to answer any of your questions or concerns you may have that have been raised by some of the masters.
I immediately have a question for you right off the bat.
Go ahead.
What is your parking situation?
Well, my personal parking situation is nice. I have actually an entire lot that is covered. Think of Jay Leno's garage, but times 5. And then also I have a helicopter landing pad. So I'm actually taken care of. But there are issues for the rest of the racers, and that's what I'm here to address. If you need to get to the course, just show up an hour early. Drop your stuff off with a friend. Go park your car and take the shuttle. It's actually pretty easy peasy. It doesn't mess with my topiaries, and everything looks great.
So, say I'm a average Masters racer who traveled down for the race, and I've got my bike, I've got my pit bike.
Bikes.
Yeah. I've got my bike, I've got my pit bike, I've got my extra wheels, I've got my extra pit wheels, I've got my rollers, I've got my extra rollers, I've got my pit rollers, I've got a trainer, I've got a bag with a skin suit and arm warmers and all that jazz, and I've got a backup pair of all the extra stuff just in case it was wet.
This is starting to sound like my own personal collection at the...
And I've got my single speed for the single speed race, and I've got my fat bike for the fat bike race, and I've got my donut bike for the donut race. You know...
Your donut bike?
I gotta have a donut bike. Anyway.
Okay. Tim, you don't have a donut bike, Tim?
No, I'm a regular Masters racer, so I have all this stuff. And you said I need to drop it off with a friend. As a regular Masters racer, you should know I don't have any friends. Ouch! I am here. I show up to a bike race, I do my thing, and I leave immediately after.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that. I have to leave. I'll talk to you later.
What?
All right. Well, Thaddeus, we've lost Thaddeus. He's gone.
Yeah.
He just cut out of the Skype call.
Hey guys,
I don't
sorry
see
I'm late.
how this is a problem for anybody.
It's Tim in Orlando. I'm here, guys.
Tim just joined the call. Hey, little guy, Tim's on.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, how's it going? What I missed?
We're talking about the parking situation.
Oh my God! Can we stop talking about the damn parking situation? You know who we need to? We need to first off blame the promoters of Austin, Texas Cyclocross Nationals for now causing all cyclocross masters to freak out about their race.
Did they start
this race is going to be just fine.
Did they start the trend of like having a epic nationwide level freak out before nationals?
I mean, that was some high quality Twitter drama that was going on the other day.
But is it appropriate to give the credit to Austin, or should really Louisville Worlds get that credit?
But Louisville Worlds brought Worlds, you know, like, I mean, they couldn't help the river.
Wait, was there a parking problem at Louisville Worlds?
No, they had a river problem.
They're still probably paying the Army Corps of Engineers for that extra overtime work to keep the river.
The thing I was thinking, though, is like, You guys remember how hard, to get our bikes and all our stuff to the Louisville race when we went there to race was? Nobody seemed to think that was a big problem. It's not like you could park right there. Spencer, you and me, we're racing in, the UCI race. We had to, bike from our hotel with our wheels and our bags on our back and then just, steal a spot next to Meyerson.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have... It's not like the race, offered us anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think most people aren't as resourceful as us, little guy.
What
Most
really
people are a
grinds
bunch of
my
whiners.
gears?
Yeah.
What grinds my gear, and I have a lot of gear grinding to do today.
Yeah.
Well, you got
what really
11
grinds my gears on this one is that Cyclocross Nationals is happening on probably the most epic and prestigious venue it has ever happened before. I mean, this is the Biltmore. This is very impressive. And the complaints are twofold. The first is that you have to pay to get onto the property. Well, guess what? You had to pay to get on the property of Louisville World Championships. Sure, you're a racer and maybe you want a discounted rate. I don't know how the finances work, but you're on the Biltmore, which is pretty amazing. So you should say thank you. Secondly,
What's it cost?
Like $100.
No,
the race costs $100. The parking costs $15.
yeah, it's like 15 to get. That's like that's your wristband that you can use all week to get onto the property.
yeah.
Now that doesn't include a tour, which you should definitely take. The second thing is the parking. So people are complaining that they have to drop off their parts if they don't get there early and then take a shuttle over. Mm-hmm. Now there has been opportunity to buy some of the hotel rooms that are on property right next to the venue.
Yep.
That's
the shortcut. That's the secret shortcut everybody should have took.
You know, there was test events. You could have went there to try it and see what things were going on. I think that this whole complaining is just the new, it's the new Monday.
The new golf.
I think I don't think these people are without merit. It should be a little more kind of the regular norm of a cross race. You know, the parking is across the street or something. You know what I mean? But the venue is its own thing. I understand. But it's also indicative of a problem of cross that I was getting at earlier a little bit, that everybody brings so much crap to races these days. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you need that stuff, let me tell you.
Well,
no, I'm with you, Spencer. I think they should ban pit bikes outside of... Obviously, they can't ban them outside of the UCI races because that's the way it rolls in Europe and the rest of the world, and we can't influence that. But I really think, and I'm being 100% serious, USA Cycling should ban pit bikes at every level below the UCI races.
Even nationals?
And I say this, even nationals. No, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, I say this because, last time I did a UCI race, it was super muddy. It's the only super muddy race I did all year that I needed a pit bike, and I was at such an unbelievable disadvantage. And I know they can't ban it there.
Just work harder, little guy.
I just think locally they should ban them. No, it's ridiculous. There's no reason you need two bikes to race any race. It's just stupid.
So that's.
So what do you think about that, Jim? Anything? I just said something. Think anything about that?
That to banning pit bikes? I think it sounds great. I don't really care about that.
This is why people tune in. I see where you're coming from, little guy, and I think you might be onto something, but I think you're going to be hard-pressed to get anybody to listen to you.
They're going to make all these people that have another bike, they'll be mad for a couple minutes.
Why didn't you ask the president of USA?
Sell the bike, I didn't think about it.
Once they realize...
When they sell the bike and they make back a bunch of money, and then they're about to go to the races, and their wife's like, "You're going to another one of these stupid races?" And they're like, "Hey, I just sold my pit bike, and I made $4,700 off selling my B-bike." And they'll be like, "Oh, cool."
Yep.
Hey,
I'm thinking they'll all realize they can trade in that backup cross bike for a fat bike, and they're going to be really happy.
Oh, they're not going to be happy because they're going to get food poisoning and be sick the next 2 fucking days.
Hey,
fat bikes will give you food poisoning. It's a little known fact.
Let's actually talk about the bike racing. I brought it up, little guy. Where you were talking and I wasn't listening, I was bringing up the USA Cycling race predictor and the crossresults.com predictor.
Wait, there's 2 predictors?
There's 2 predictors with 2 completely different results. Crossresults.com, of course, our friend Colin Reuter has been the proprietor of that for at least, 10 years. And this is technology. There's two different race predictors, and we discussed this at length last night, but since the podcast Krampus come out, we decided to do it all over again. And since then, there's been some great news that we must discuss.
And we're
Like
super
this pizza.
excited about doing this again. You can tell.
Little guy is eating some awesome pizza. Little guy, what's on that pizza? A little kale?
Wait,
little Brussels sprouts?
whoa.
There's no
Little
kale
guy.
on the pizza. We got olives, we got a little tomato sauce, a little tofu, a little
Little guy.
mushrooms, a little sweet potato.
Little guy.
I don't remember what else. What?
Why do you
what?
have a fork?
Because the pizza was too big and I forgot to slice it because I was hurrying up here so I could be on time.
So, hey, you guys have actually left for the day. I've been sitting here this entire time for the last 24 hours waiting to record in my home office here. I've got the beer stein. I've got the beer. So I'm here with the race predictions and all of the important internet news about cyclocross and the future of cycling in 2016. So I am ready to rumble. Let's do it.
Well,
Okay.
Tim, do you have any ideas for the future? Anything that grinds your gears?
I have a lot that grinds my gears. Let's talk first about the Cyclocross National Championship schedule. We talked
Okay.
about it last night, but we didn't have the data in front of us. But I have the data in front of us right now. And there's a couple things I want to point out. Did you know that there is an entire day dedicated to men's masters racing? And then a
No,
complete...
but that sounds like the sexiest day of the year.
I know. On Wednesday, it's nothing but men's masters racing. And then Thursday
sounds
is
so good.
Then on Thursday, nothing but female masters racing. And I think that that is dumb. I think that they need to go back to like the combined masters day because we live in such a sexist society that there's going to be a lot of people that don't go watch the female masters racers, or because their numbers tend to be less, that they're not going to get the crowd that they rightfully deserve. So
It's true.
let's go back and put all the female masters 30 and 34 with the men's 30 and 34.
We'll put
Hell,
all
they
the
may have
65 plus, the 55 plus, put all them early in the week when no one's there, and put the exciting races, the
Yeah,
40, the 35, the 30.
Wait.
I have a guess of why
Later.
they did that.
Why?
Oh, why?
I bet USA Cycling thought, hey, there's a lot of hetero cyclocross couples out there. They're probably racing in the same age bracket. And if they did the women's race, the guy would be like, I got to warm up, girl. But on the same day. But then the wife would end up being like, oh, I guess I'll pit for you because she's probably nicer than her husband.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And so he would warm up and not pit for her, and then she would pit for him, and it wouldn't be fair because then like half the women's field wouldn't get a
So-
proper warm up.
Okay,
So
you're
you
bringing
think,
up a
you think they
point.
changed the schedule for fairness?
Well, for fairness,
They,
Okay.
they cleared the schedule, guys, because they foresaw this perceived parking problem, which we have since learned is really not an issue according to Twitter.
Well, why would
Multiple
that be
people saying
influenced
get there
by
early
gendered.
because you need someone to
But
get out of
wait.
the car. You know,
Now,
if you're
I read a long blog post from Steve Tilford about how bad this was going to be. Are you telling me that this is not true? That something on Steve Tilford's blog turned out to be not true?
I have been here for 24 hours sitting on this couch getting ridiculously angry thinking about the over-exaggeration. In fact,
Fat bike ride or something.
immediately after recording last night, Adam Meyerson puts out probably his most popular tweet of all time, more than when he announced that his wife just gave birth to the baby. Said,
Flynn. Yeah.
"This is
If
the
Adam
greatest.
gives birth to a baby.
That this is
himself,
the greatest
that will be
course
the
he
most
has
popular.
ever ridden on. That this is the best national championship course of all time." And this
That's
guy
exciting.
has raced them all. So, you know what? All the haters, I hate you. Secondly, I want to talk about,
You're just gonna
Okay.
hate, man.
you know, too many people get to race in cyclocross nationals. I don't mind the non-championship day, which was today, which obviously is a
Yeah.
fundraiser for the
I thought
organization.
we'd agree we hated that.
More power to you for making money. But there are several, mainly college kids, that get to go race and get a prime racing time that haven't even done cyclocross racing this entire year. For example, maybe they do one or two races, but there are several people on the start list that have not raced that much that I
Call
don't feel
someone
are
out by
national
name.
championship caliber.
But they're cherry picking some national championship jerseys. If they're there, what are you going to do? If there's a fat bike 70+ national championship and only 2 people enter, and you're the USA Cycling president, it would behoove you to enter that race and win it.
So
you gotta win.
You guys
gotta
know,
show up to win.
Did you guys know that today, in the Masters non-championship 40 to 49-year-old race, there was 134 people registered. That is crazy. Like, more power to you. Like, but here's the thing. God. Why? This is a disservice, and this is when the tree people of Austin were actually correct. It's too many people on the damn course, because now we've seen video of how awesome the course looks. Little guy, you haven't seen it, but I've been watching it nonstop. I'll explain it to you. Holy crap, there's a lot of uphill and a ton of off-camber, and then barriers very close to the finish that could determine who wins. A bunny hop could determine who wins the national championship. Okay? So
now that now hearing that, I hope so much that whoever wins runs it and the other person bunny hops, bobbles the bunny hop.
So let me continue my rant, guys. Here's the issue that's really grinding my gears. There are too many racers and races on the course that come Sunday, the course is going to be completely destroyed for the elite national championships. There is like a grace in the way that the World Cup only allows a maximum of 5 races on a course. I think it's just too many racers on this course. Looking at today's non-championship race, eventually, if any rain comes in, all of that off-camber stuff, the line is going to be either dictated or it's going to be complete mud. And you're not going to see, natural racing conditions for the elites.
Yeah, but the line dictated will be a Cat 4 line.
Let me finish.
Absolutely not. That's not what we do on this show.
I would say that those elite national championships, they need to have champion racers. They need to have a course that is fairly decent, not destroyed.
I agree.
Now you may continue in our civilized debate.
No, I agree, if only for the fact that there'll be a line, but it will be so messy and muddy that you have to pit 5 times. And then you have to pit, and you know how I feel about pitting. Well, nobody knows how I feel about pitting because I said it last night. Pit bikes should be outlawed. But, so it's just gone.
I like these subtle digs on, the fact that the podcast Krampus took away the recording.
No, but seriously, I agree with Tim Spencer that when the course is that messed up, it's one thing at a local race, you know how much it changes at a small local race, but after 6 days of racing on a course, it ends up being that the final 2 elite races, the men's and the women's, have to take weird lines basically.
Right.
It's completely different than any other race.
Oh, I'm not saying I disagree with him.
I just think it's too much. I think it also means that, unfortunately, it's either you have 2 kinds of national championships in the U.S. You have muddy and you have frozen. But there's never any of the other racing conditions can ever be present because you can get frozen this late in the year and then you can get super mud, but you can't get you couldn't design a fast grassy course.
You know where you
it would
could
be
design
pure
that?
mud by the last. But that's a part of racing, and that's a different skill set for cross. Than other kinds.
What do you think, Spencer, before I interrupt?
Well, I think we race in dry, dusty conditions for the first 6 months of cross season, and then we get our muddy race at the end, and that's, whatever. It keeps everybody on their toes. I don't care about that.
Okay?
I don't care.
Don't you want a national champion of dry, dusty cross races? I kind of do. For once,
it would be Ryan Trebon.
I know.
Yeah.
That would be the greatest thing ever. The tweets would be amazing.
And if it was a grass crit, I wouldn't be the worst. I wouldn't be the best, but I'd be way better than if it was muddy.
Okay. Well, fair enough. You can line up with the other 150 schmoes that aren't going to wear a Stars and Stripes jersey that are for some reason there.
I mean...
What? But wait, no. We've had this argument before. You think only the people that can win the jersey should show up. So
no.
If so, Powers. So Powers in an interview kind of listed 8 guys or something that he thought had a pretty legit chance. And he's outside of that, I'd be pretty surprised. So you think maybe just those 8 guys? But then why doesn't a guy like me be well, I'm gonna go as the 9th dude, really rolling the dice? My odds are pretty good.
Top 10.
It'd be like a short track speed skating race at the Olympics where you make finals somehow and everyone crashes out, but you're the only one that's still
Yeah, you're like off the back and everybody just falls down and you just will go around 5 times.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
You never know. It could be a classic sort of race like when Phil took out the whole field for me at Jingle Cross that one year, and I just rode around to my top 5 placing without really having to ever make the selection. That could happen.
Well, so if we're in
far enough
Belgium,
back, I'll avoid
the Belgian national championships do run like very small field like that because it's the most elite guys. We can't do that here. It's not realistic. It would be stupid. You're taking it to the far extreme. I think 10 people or 8 people would be way too few. 150 is way too many. Can we settle in the middle at a reasonable number of like 50
It will be
people?
for the elites, though. What is it this year?
The elites only got like what? There's 43 women and there's 53 men.
Right,
in the elite.
that's
a perfect
few,
size.
And there should and there should also be 53 Masters 45 and 53 Masters 50 plus or whatever.
So
else.
how do you decide who gets in there, Spencer?
Playoffs.
Playoffs?
That's the American
I like
way.
that.
It's the American way.
I think that it should be determined on the old World Cup rules, kind of like where the top 5 guys from each state or 5 women get the chance to race. So then, because obviously in any type of ranking system, people from states like Florida, anywhere in the Southeast where cyclocross is not big, get screwed. And you got a guy like Ryan Woodall, who's way down at the bottom, who's a national champion. And it's like, wow, fix
at
that.
the opposite end, Tim, if you did top 5 from every state, there'd be some chumps coming from Florida and Alabama and Mississippi, and at the same time there'd be some heavy hitters from the Northeast.
But only 5 of them, so we control the opportunity.
No, but
little
imagine,
guy, this is your opportunity to get into states. Like you
no,
could
not. I'll get 6. I'll get 6 in the state that year. I will. I got 6 at the Minnesota State Championships this year.
Yeah, well, better luck next year in Hartford.
Yeah.
But then it's like then it would have been like at states here in Minnesota. If top 5, I had to get top 5 or something, right? Then it would have been like I should have gone out in a very conservative race rather than trying to go with the lead group and blowing myself up like I did. It was like go all in and race hard for a win and blow up, or race super conservative so that 2 months from that I can go spend $12,000 to get 54th in the country if I'm lucky.
So at Jingle Cross in a few years, when it becomes a World Cup race, are they going to limit the amount of racing on just Sunday? Like, will they still have racing on Friday and Saturday, you think?
No, I don't think they'll be able to.
Yeah, they'll have to do...
World Cup. They won't
they have to have the course open for inspection and stuff.
Do you think that then they'll do a separate course? I mean, think about this for a second. Like,
no.
How do you do that kind of thing at nationals? So if I'm advocating for there's too many racers on the course, but obviously you want the promoters to make money because they deserve to make money. Like, I don't have any issue with that. Like, do you have 2 courses like they had at Louisville for the Masters World Championships?
Maybe.
Yeah. I think you do need to do that, unfortunately, because it does just eat up the course too much. I think you kind of have to have maybe even you just have different sections of the course.
3 days of racing or pro only lines, but like Saturday and Sunday maybe that's one course and then you have the other. I don't know. What do you guys?
Well, if that was the case, then the course could be open on Friday or something for the elite riders to pre-ride it, and you could still be having races on a course that was next to it. Or something, but that requires so much space. It's probably not.
Yeah. That's not feasible at Jingle Cross
unless
all the land.
But unless like at nationals you like did kind of the same course, but you changed like 4 or 5 things. So maybe you set up a pro course, and like Jingle Cross does, where they have like 3 courses taped, and they use some of the same segments, but maybe they mix it up so that the whole course isn't just like a completely eaten up mud pit by Sunday. That you have some different terrain thrown in.
Is there
that's never going to happen.
But is cyclocross mature enough at this point to have a big enough crowd and promoters are able to make enough money without the amateur racing? Because that's really what we're getting at, right? Like
that's
they
the
do
idea.
need 6 days of racing.
Yeah, you have to replace those amateur racers you're losing with amateur racers that are willing to pay the same amount of money to watch superstars race. You know what I mean?
And how much did it cost for one of these Masters men's 40 to 49 race? I got to look into this on how much they had to pay to to actually race that race. 131 of them.
Probably like $65 just per.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of money you have to replace. So I don't think we're going to be seeing anything different.
Yeah, no, we're not. But
all right, so
fuck it.
I mean, the big news, of course, guys, is that Cyclocross Nationals is coming along, and people come to us for our race predictions. And there are there's one great leader in the field of race predictions, and there's one that clearly copied the leader in race predictions. Of course, we're talking about crossresults.com and the great work of Colin Reuter. And he has gone out and he's done a great blog post on his own blog called Until the Snow Melts or whatever. I mean, just Google it. And go to crossresults.com. That's where the important stuff is. And let's go first to the women's race. He believes, based off of his data that he's been compiling for years now, that the women's race is going to be dominated by Katie Compton and then Katie Antonow in second with Georgia Gould in third.
Is there a different Katie we could get in third so that my prediction of Katie could actually be true?
I don't know.
Another Katie racing?
I don't believe so. And then in the USA Cycling prediction, you have Katie Compton with the win, Caitlin Antonow in second, and Crystal Anthony in third. So the question is, guys, I am of the belief that Katie Compton will walk away once again with the title. Especially after looking at this course, seeing all the off-camber, very pro-like features throughout, and by pro I mean European racing. Her experience has come to the forefront. I do believe that this is probably the last year of her amazing title run. But I think Katie Compton is going to take the title.
Why do you think this year?
I just think that she did a great job of kind of the slow build. She kind of called her shot, and she wasn't racing at the top of her game at Cross Vegas and kind of build up slowly. But I think that at some point, everyone needs to ride off into the sunset, and Caitlin Antonow is clearly the cream of the crop when it comes to the future, and we're starting to see great improvements from her.
Right.
That I think that this is Les Compton victory.
Not to put Les Tim on this show, but little guy, what do you think?
Well, like I said, I'm thinking Katie, and that means I got to pull up the start list. Actually, I don't know who my third Katie is.
Okay,
so you guys, I'll figure out my third Katie.
I also think Katie, but I'm going to flip the script. I don't necessarily believe this to be true, but I want it to be true. I don't know. I always root for the underdog, and I want to see the big dogs fall sometimes. So I'm gonna pick Katie Antonow to pull it off over Katie Compton. I think with the climbing on this course, the little tiny Katie will have a better shot than she's ever had before. Yeah, the tiny Katie over the big Katie. And in third, man, it could really go a lot of different ways.
I'm going with Meredith Miller for third.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, just blast from the past. She's amazing.
Okay. All right.
I think she'll.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Top 5 maybe.
Yeah. I'm with that.
I already know who you're going to pick, Spencer, for the third place on the podium.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What if I changed my mind since last night? Ah, damn it. I think it's going to be Elle Anderson. It's true. She's been racing better and better every outing in Europe there, and I think she's coming into form, and this kind of course is going to suit her.
Little guy, there's I count 3 different Katies that can fill out the podium for you. First off, we have Caitlin Vestal of Golden, Colorado, who's predicted on USA Cycling to finish in 15th place. We have Catherine. We have Catherine Cumming of predicted to finish in 17th place. She's from Bloomfield, New Jersey. And then we also have Catherine Northcott, who's expected to finish 22nd of Walpole, New Hampshire. So she raced today and in a Masters field and won by over a minute and a half. So she might not be a bad pick, little guy.
Ooh, okay, I'll go with her. That's my pick.
All right.
And who was that little guy?
Don't remember. Kate something.
Catherine Northcott.
Catherine Norcott. That's almost it's a Katie, but it's not a Katie. You know what I'm saying?
So let's touch briefly, Spencer. Yesterday we talked about it. The women's U23 race, very important, of course, for the development of cyclocross across the board, but really on who's in that field. And there is a star in the making in that field that many believe could actually win the women's elite race.
It's true.
Now, they are not at the same time. The U23 race takes off at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday, about 3 hours before the women's race, which is on 2:30. So the question I have to you is, who is that racer that we're all expecting to do very well, and do you feel that she should even be in the 23-plus race and could actually have a chance of winning?
Yeah, well, of course, we're talking about Ellen Noble. She has been pretty dominant in the East Coast UCI races anyway this year. And, she definitely could be a threat for a podium and potentially win in the elite race. So
Spencer, you live in, quote-unquote, the hotbed of cyclocross in New England.
Let's call it Boston.
And the question I have is Emma White, who is very close in all of the rankings to Ellen Noble. Does she have a fair shot of beating Ellen in the U23 title? Because if you look at the rankings alone, very close to each other in points. So
I think she does have a legit shot. She's beaten Ellen a few times at local races here, most recently at NBX, and I think also at Cycle Smart. She won one of the days. They've gone back and forth a few times. I think it's usually when Ellen loses a little bit of focus and, makes a mistake. Emma is good enough to capitalize on it and take advantage and walk away with a win. Anything's possible, but hopefully Ellen's got her focus on, and it shouldn't be a huge problem, but Emma is not to be dismissed for sure.
Hey, as a side note, guys, I just want to point out that there are, in the women's U23 race, there are 37 registered, and there are 43 women registered for the elite race. Just from numbers perspective, and as a promoter, all three of us really, and we hear so often about promoters complaining about prize lists and everything. It is really great to see large fields that also can help contribute to the growth of the sport, but then also the importance of having, even prize money at the local level. So that's just another editorial that we have, but the racers are there. So let's put on better events for them. Let's slide into the men's U23 race before we get to the men's elite race. The U23 race, as discussed, Logan Owen is racing in the senior division. So therefore it's kind of open. USA Cycling predicts a Curtis White victory by quite a bit, looking at the points over Tobin Ortenbald and Scott Smith. Juniors that I'm not very familiar with. Spencer, you can obviously speak on Scott Smith, who's from the Jam Fund.
Yeah, Scott's been getting better lately as well, so he's another one to watch out for. Definitely a podium threat. Don't know that he can take down Curtis White. Curtis, I don't know. People in New England know this, but outside of the area, we had a local race here, like a local 1-2-3 race. He started 2 minutes behind the field, like just left himself a handicap, and then caught the field, went through the field, and then won the race.
Yeah, did he do that on purpose, or was
he did it on purpose? He did it on purpose, and this is a legit Cat 1 field.
All right.
With Adam Meyerson racing, with a lot of guys, of that caliber, that he caught with a 2-minute gap, passed through, and then won. So,
court is in session. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Slow Ride Podcast Court. We have a verdict that must be read and decided. The question in front of us today is it okay or is it a dick move to start 2 minutes behind your competition and then proceed to completely destroy them and win the race?
Can I argue in for the dick move?
Yes.
Your Honor, why don't you just show up and tell everybody that they suck, flick them off, and just leave? It's way more effective, and you don't run the risk of fucking it up.
Interesting point.
Doesn't it seem like a kind of like like everyone's like, "Hey, we're about to start, dude. Get your spot." And he's like, "No, it's cool. I don't give a shit. I'm back here. I'm going to talk to my girlfriend for a couple minutes and send a couple texts, and then I'll catch you and drop you because I'm like so much better than you. I don't even need to pay attention."
Do you care to respond in favor of it being an okay move?
The defense does have some statements they'd like to make. We think this is appropriate in several ways. He was not a surprise. He let everybody know that was the plan, and everybody's on board. The field.
Wait, Your Honor, I object. So it's okay if you announce beforehand that you're going to be a dick.
The field,
overruled. I don't know what to say there.
The field in New England is supportive of their young racers and wants them to get proper workouts that they need to progress as far as possible on the world level. He was going over to Europe shortly thereafter. And also, there's a precedent for that here in New England. The McCormick brothers apparently used to do it back in the day, and one of which is Curtis's coach.
So, I have heard both the in defense of this move, and I have heard the opponent of this move. And I must say,
McCormick defense.
I must say that the use of the McCormick defense is not new to this podcast, but I am in agreement completely with little guy here that this is not okay. This is
doesn't matter what you think. Let's get back to race predictions.
Is this in a U23 race that he's doing this?
No, this is in a Cat 1-2 race.
Oh my god, even worse. Like oh.
I guess I do understand you could make the one argument that you're trying to like get used to the lap traffic, get used to a lot of people doing all the passes. Like, so you imagine you go to Europe and you got to start back row. So you start at the back of the race, so you got to make just like more passes, work harder to gain positions.
Hey guys,
you don't learn. It's a classic triathlete move. Your failure is that you don't learn anything riding by yourself.
Well, and it's true. I do understand that, like, if you're like, especially if you're a junior and you're coming up and you're the fastest guy in every category, that at a certain point when you get over to Europe and you get thrown in, you're like, well, why are all these people near me? Oh no, he's really close to me, and you panic and you crash.
This move that you're discussing reminds me when Jared Schumacher, 2-time U.S. Olympian, would show up to Florida cyclocross races, and he's a triathlon Olympic participant. And he would show up, but like the start would be the only time that we ever have a big field. So there'd be like 25 people at the start line. He would just stay at the start line for like 15 seconds, so everyone would get strung out, and then he would slowly just pick everybody off and get like a top four.
I understand his idea because he was like, I don't even want to deal with that crap. Like, just let him spread out.
But I've like to rescind my original verdict and come to a new one. You're both wrong because who's Curtis White?
You know who he is.
Yeah.
He's be our national champion. Curtis, you do what you want. Let's get on to the men's elite race. And this is where the biggest controversy of all is. Crossresults.com claims that your 2016 cyclocross national champion is going to be Stephen Hyde with a victory, an oh-so-slim victory over Jeremy Powers with Logan Owen in third place. Whereas USA Cycling race predictor, which you would think would be very similar to Cross Results since it's practically the same thing, states that Jeremy Powers will be taking the win over Stephen Hyde and Jamie Driscoll in third place with Logan Owen a distant fifth. Now, I will go first here, gentlemen.
So wrong.
Yesterday, I claimed that Jeremy Powers would take the win over Stephen Hyde. But after looking at this course and really thinking and looking at the weather and looking at how many racers are going to be on the course before, it is going to be a slop show. It is going to be a mess. It is going to be a Logan Owen national championship. It is going to be his 14th year in a row or whatever years in a row he's won the national championship. Logan Owen for the victory over Stephen Hyde and third place Jonathan Page. Jeremy Powers for the first time in 4 years finishes off the podium because of the mud and the off-camber. Discuss.
Finishes off the podium, yet on the podium in America.
Tim,
good job.
I think you're kind of onto something here.
Whoa,
I think it's gonna be Page, Jonathan Page, somebody else with the J name, and then Josh Bauer. We're going all J names here. So it's going to be Jonathan Page,
Justin Lindeen.
Maybe
Justin Lindeen.
Not Jamie Driscoll?
No, not Jamie Driscoll. Jamie Driscoll will be fifth. We all know he's going to be fifth. It's the only place he finishes. So yeah, Jay Page,
J Page,
Jay
okay.
Lindeen,
Okay.
Jay Bauer.
Lindeen's not a bad pick, honestly, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I think Lindeen's truthfully seventh. Bauer's going to get top 10 though. I'm pulling for him. I'm sending him all my power. I'm sending him my 5 watts.
Okay. All right.
And who do you got, Spencer?
I'm gonna, man. After looking at the course like you, I kind of am questioning my judgment. I thought it would be a Stephen Hyde victory over Powers, much like the predictor says. I still think those two will be in a dead heat, but with the muck and the rain, and the barriers
Spencer,
right at the end.
The barrier placement. I mean, Spencer, let's talk about this real quick. Like,
The barrier
we finished
placement-
the podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
And then right away, crosshairs.com, friend of the podcast, posts a ride-along video of the course. And we all watched it. It was like a 10-minute lap, just kind of tooling around. Holy crap. This is a serious, challenging course with the off-camber.
It looks great. It really does look great.
And I was watching, and I was 9.5 minutes through, and I'm like, where are the barriers? Like, we have not even seen barriers yet.
I thought we were going
come.
full Euro. I thought we were going commando with no barriers.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I got my tweet already. I was like, hey, did anybody else notice there's no barriers? And then they show up, and then you go over the barriers, you take a left-hand turn, you're on the road for the sprint victory win. Now, Meyerson has since told us on Twitter that it is an uphill sprint on the road that you couldn't really tell in the ride video. But those barriers are awfully close. I mean, that could be. I mean, a bunny hop could win nationals if they're
A clean
together.
bunny hop could be the difference, or could set up a good position.
It's going to be running. Someone's going to run it. And they're going to put their bike in front of the bunny hopper, and the bunny hopper will mess up, and they'll pull it back, and then they'll get on the bike.
Here's my prediction. I'm thinking a group of 3 goes to the finish, and it's J Pow, and it's the protege Hyde, and it's the old man John Page, and they're racing to that last corner before the barriers. They're not racing to the finishing straight. And John Page pulls out a crazy move on the inside, takes that corner first, gets to the barriers, and blocks the bunny hoppers. We know Jay Powell can hop, but he hops slow. Hyde hops fast, so he's a little more in the way of Hyde than he is Powers. And then jumps back on and can rip the sprint up the hill for a Jay Page victory with a Hyde in second and Powers pulling off the podium spot in third.
Guys,
Spencer, I agree with you 100%.
Spencer, that's a well done.
That was a beautiful picture you painted.
It is. And
Thanks.
guys, let's think about this for a second. So it has been Jeremy Powers' dominance for the last few years. But really, Johnny Page is the grandfather, the patriarch of U.S. cyclocross, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, guys, how awesome would it be that Jonathan Page, his first year racing domestically only, takes the title again, like a final farewell? This could be the end of the train. Like, the fairy tale ends for the women this year and the men. Johnny Page and Katie Compton taking the title, riding off into the sunset, and then all new next year. I mean,
You do know that Page will never retire. Like, if he wins it, it's not like he's going to ride off into the sunset.
He's
5 more years, baby.
Dare I say, America's most popular cyclocross racer?
Oh shit!
No.
You think he's on the same level as Horner in that department?
So this is it's going to be an interesting national championship. I'm very excited for it. So, guys, I think that we can move on from the cyclocross national championships. The world is not ending. The world continues to spin. There will be success in Asheville. It is setting the stage for better cyclocross national championships in Hartford and Reno every year. We continue to grow. And so I am excited for that. But let's get into the next thing that we must discuss, and that is the future of cycling in the year of 2016. So with that, we just have a couple of quick things that we want to go through. And we discussed them last night, but let's just get right into it. So Spencer, in the year 2016, is there a race that you are most excited for?
Sure. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is.
I
And
bet,
you know what? It's not.
I bet last night you were even more excited.
I probably was. I had my notes in front of me too. I'm not excited, I can tell you, about the Tour de France or Tim's dog in the background. But
It's just
what
always-
what I am excited about is the new Grand Tour of the future, which is the Giro d'Italia. I think that race is going to be a star-studded event, like it always is, but it's going to notch it up a level because it's looking to take the crown. It's looking to move to July. It sees the cracks in the armor, and if this race wants to be the top dog. And I think the UCI is going to use it, move it to July, and move up the Tour of California.
just as leverage. And the crazy thing is that of all the races that would be willing to do it, it would be the Italians at the Giro. They're like, screw it. We already have our own tour. We don't need France.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'm looking for some fireworks there.
Okay.
I'm looking for some ridiculous shenanigans from the course organizers. Everything about it's going to be awesome.
And little guy, what race are you most excited for 2016?
Well, last time I told you I wasn't excited about anything. I think I might stay at that. I'm not really that excited about the road season.
Well,
all the things Spencer just mentioned why he's excited, that makes me very unhappy.
So, little guy, you are not excited for anything. Spencer, you're excited for the Giro. Gentlemen, you're both wrong. The correct answer this evening is
Doing that?
the Cyclocross World Championships 2016. Will Wout van Aert once again lose to Matthew van der Poel? Discuss.
Yes.
So we did this last night, and then I thought we were talking about just road as sort of a vision for 2016. And again, you did the exact same bit, and I just completely fell for it again. I was like, I'm just thinking about the road. And then again, you brought up the road and stuff. So yes, that is going to be a good race. I am excited for that. You've won, McLaughlin Group.
Victory shall be mine. I think that that race is going to be fantastic from the gun. There are so many underlying stories. I'm hoping that maybe we will get to see a U.S. Return to the top 10 at least in the World Championships. Mm-hmm. My second most important race
Compton.
Apologies. I was talking about the men's only. I would like to see Katie Compton finally taking her crown. It does look like Sanne Kant is actually beatable this year in the women's field, and I think Katie's going to be able to take that away. Now, as far as other races I'm most excited for is actually the Qatari World Championships. The sand race of all sand races. It is going to be amazing. Are you guys as excited as me?
Clearly not.
No.
I'm
dreading that because I'm going to watch it, and it's going to piss me off. For what? How long is the World Championship? Like 9 hours?
I feel bad for a couple reasons for that race. A, because it's going to be terrible no matter what. But B, it has to follow up Richmond, which was maybe the best race I've seen in a very long time. Like that was a very well done and a very well raced World Championship, and I don't see Qatar coming anywhere close to that.
Yeah, I don't either. It's true, Spencer. You're right. It's a hard act to follow. Is that DeLuca?
That is not DeLuca behind me. That is Roscoe the cat. DeLuca is hiding once again. The knocks came on the door, so DeLuca is hiding as far away as possible from the
3 strikes and you're out, right?
Did DeLuca think it was the UCI at the door or what?
I thought it was WADA, but the point is moot.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
do you think DeLuca's doping even now that he's just a retired guy? He's probably got some vines he's looking after.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he's hanging out with Ricardo Rico. They're just kind of like, hey, what'd you do this week? Oh,
Him
man,
and,
I put in some serious intervals.
Yeah, I bet all three of him and Rico and Luca Paolini are all just clubbing.
The Paolini story, like the way he admitted to the cocaine use, and then he also talked about his sleeping pill addiction. I felt that was fairly heartfelt. You know what I mean?
You know what, though? I'm going to interrupt you because I don't care. But in more important Italian cycling news.
What's more important than Luca Paolini?
Did you guys see the new kit that Pipo Pozzato's wearing? Because holy shit, it's amazing.
It is pretty amazing. Like
it's so good.
Well, I mean, let's mention that he supposedly designed it.
Do you think he designed it?
I hope so, because it's beautiful.
That's the line that the team is giving.
Do you think they did that just for the extra press? Because it's a good-looking kit.
It's so good.
It's obviously got some extra press. Because if they had just announced new kit on the team that Peepo's on, people would be like, oh, God, is it 2008?
He's got his own logo on it. That's what's the best part.
Yeah.
God, I hope he's good this year. Because if not, that's embarrassing.
So yesterday, before the podcast disappeared, you had asked us which team we're most excited for in 2016.
Yeah.
And I really want to say that I'm excited for Southeast with Peepo and their amazing kits, but I still can't. The kits are great and they're amazing, but I can't go that far. And I still like Dimension Data with the underdog, Mark Cavendish, on their team now.
Oh, still? God, it's hard to do these the second time because all the stupid things both of you say are more painful the second day.
the fact that...
Who do you guys like for 2016 then?
So yesterday I told you I didn't like anything. So
I forgot about yesterday.
Of being grumpy. But I remembered one thing this morning, which is one I saw that Peepo thing, and then with that I saw a picture of Iran putting on his new Garmin kit. And I was like, holy shit. I forgot that Iran is on Garmin, but I also forgot that Iran and Pierre Roland, which is you can say their names together and it just flies off the tongue. Mm-hmm. They're on the same team, and that I'm excited for. That's weird. That's either going to work or be just a disaster.
Either way,
so I'm excited.
It's going to be good watching.
I'm actually excited about them because of those two guys.
I'm surprised that you like a team that has Ryder Hesjedal on it.
He does. Ryder Hesjedal is on track.
I'm just seeing if you were paying attention last night when we talked about Ryder Hesjedal.
The other thing I like, though, I don't know, Spencer, if you noticed this, there's a picture, maybe you can find it, it's like on Cycling News this morning. Iran putting on his Garmin kit for the first time, and he's in his like gigantic walk-in closet. He's got all his kit behind him. He's got his row of like 25 white sneaks on the wall. He's sitting on this little like changing table, and it's got this grayish like leather on it, and if you look closely, it's got little skulls all over it.
I did not notice that.
He's a funny guy. He's got quite the closet.
Well, guys, thanks for asking on what team I really want to follow. As you know, I was a huge fan of AG2R, but then they decided to put high vis on their jerseys, and it totally ruined the brown and the blue that were not my wedding colors, according to Spencer and Sarah after she listened to the last podcast. So that was fantastic. Thanks for that, Spencer.
Absolutely.
But, most importantly, the team I'm most excited for is going to be the greatest team of the year. Of course, that is Movistar. Not only do they have Carlos Betancourt, they have Alejandro Valverde to clean up in 3 of the classics. And then you have Nairo Quintana, who will get the Giro and the Tour double, perhaps. Now, you got JJ Rojas, you got Ventoso. I am very excited. What's that, little guy?
What are those 3 classics? Japan Cup,
Dubai
Tour, and
those are monuments, little guy. I'm talking about classics. The classics I'm talking about are the Ardennes classics of Flèche Wallonne, Liège, Bastogne, Liège.
Good.
And Amstel Gold.
Oh, good work.
Wow.
Did I pass the test?
You did. You passed the test.
Somebody's been, doing the
I've
homework.
been sitting here for 24 hours looking at the internet, and all my notes are amazing.
Just on the Wikipedia page.
And guys, with that, I'm pretty excited about this amazing episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. We'd like to thank all of our listeners. Make sure you rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. That would be fantastic. And also, I want to make sure that you wave to all of your fellow cyclists that you see out there on the road. They can be wearing jeans or they can be wearing a tank top. Just give them the old wave. It's the nice thing that you do. We'd also like to thank BK1 of Rhyme Stars Entertainment for his intro and outro music. And with that, we bid you adieu.
Get a light.
Get off the road.
Passing on your left.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.
I had a guy. I just me and this guy on the trail today. He was on a fat bike. I was on bike, and I waved, and he looked like he wanted to wave, but he had those varmint things on. And I thought, for a sec,
He didn't want to take his hands out of the varmints.
yeah. Well, I was thinking about it. I was kind of like, oh, why didn't he wave? But then I realized, he might not have anything on under there, and he didn't want to put his little naked hand out in the air.
That's some sacrifice there, man. If you
Right?
could get a varmint guy, a guy with varmints, to wave at you when it's cold.
You got to work extra hard. See, I would have had to start waving from 10 feet back and really sell it where he felt like there was no way he couldn't wave at me. Like possibly I was a crazy person that would attack him if he didn't wave back. But he looked at me like, I want to wave, but my hands are in these things that are built into my bars, and my hand will get cold if I take. So, you understand.